Hey y'all, hey, it is Sunshine and I am finally here with the 2024 horoscopes. Hopefully the holidays were great for y'all and the new year was great and it's going great. It is a lot that is about to transpire in 2024. If y'all didn't figure that out from 2023, baby, you are about to experience a lot more. I think every sign is being hit this year, which is that's not typical. So this is about to be a very energized year for everybody. Like who's getting back with who? Who's breaking up? Who's spinning the block? Y'all, what who's moving? Who's just quitting their jobs? Who's going to win the lottery and just get like this windfall of money? Y'all, it's a lot. It's a lot, but I'm excited about it. Some housekeeping things I want to kind of get out the way. Um, if you are, you know, when you're listening to the horoscopes that I'm going to do, I'm going to go through each sign and I'll break the signs down by dates for the most part so that you all get a better sense of kind of what's going on because not everybody in Aries will be hit the same or experience the same. So I wanted to break that down a little bit. But I encourage you to listen to the entire video because you may get some things out of even listening to the other signs. One thing, first thing to be mindful of, if you're not going to listen to the whole video, at least listen to the other signs that's in your modality. So if you're a mutable sign, that is Gemini, Virgo, Sag, Pisces, you want to listen to all of those especially. If you're fixed signs such as Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, you want to at least listen to all of those. All of these signs are going to be activated. And there's something to gain from each sign that you hear because a lot of the outer planets are going to touch on all of these signs. And it's just going to be in different ways. Um, this will be a year of movement, but also a year of caution with the transits. So there may be like this push pull energy. It's going to be a lot of shifting energy this year, and you have to be mindful of that. This is all going to be based on how you handle Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto energy in your own chart. So that's going to be important trying to figure out how you deal with this energy. The other thing is keep in mind that there will be different effects. So I am going to do the transits to your sun signs. But you have to think about if you have your ascendant in these signs, your moon, your Venus, your Mars, your Mercury, your Jupiter, or Saturn. Those are important. So when you listen to me talk about, you know, this outer planet is hitting, you know, Aries. You may not be in Aries, but your Venus sign could be in Aries or your Mars signs could be in Aries, and that will definitely impact you. You want to listen to that. And then you want to think about what houses these outer planets are going through in your chart. What sign or what house does the planets rule, the planet that's getting hit? So if your Venus is being hit by Jupiter, obviously there are some, explanations that say that's a very lucky time, could be lucky in love, lucky in money. You want to look at what house does Venus rule in your chart. Venus will rule Taurus and Libra. So where are those placed in your chart? Because those areas of your life will be impacted as well. So I just encourage you as you listen to this video, please get your chart out and know all of your placements. Like I said, this could be your ascendant, your midheaven, your descendant. So you want to look at all of those points as well. Also, think about if you're on a cusp of changing signs. If you're changing signs, let's say, I know one for sure, Capricorn, um, December 22nd. That sun, depending on what year you were born, what time you were born, can go from Sag to Capricorn in the middle of the day. So some of you may have an identity crisis if you really were to figure out, if you really didn't pay attention to the time that the sun shifts into Capricorn from Sagittarius. You may figure out that you're really a Capricorn. Now, when you're on the cusp, you can um, display maybe a little bit of both, but you are what you are. Okay. Once your sun changes and you're a Capricorn, that's what you are. So I definitely encourage you to understand and to look at that. If I don't mention your specific birthday, so you'll hear me say a lot, oh, um, the dates, if you were born May 5th through May 9th, you will experience this. If I don't mention your birthday, it just means that you won't have a transit where there are several hits from an outer planet happening for you this year. You will still have a transit or have already had that transit. It just won't be the several hits that the other birth dates will have. So it will be like a one hit wonder. You know, your if you have Jupiter transiting your sun and it's only going to go over it one time, there will be just this one big burst of energy. It'll happen very quickly and it'll pass very quickly. It'll be a very short period of time, so there might be a lot of energy in one specific time period, whereas three hits can span over 9 months, can span over most of the year. So it just drags the situation out. So that's the difference. Things will happen for you very quickly, and you'll be able to respond and recover very quickly. Whereas the three hits, it's just like, oh my goodness, can you just can you just get this over with already? It's just dragging out. So those are some things I want you to be mindful of as you listen to me do the horoscope. So let's get into it. I am not going to go in order of like Aries, Taurus. I am starting from Capricorn since we start with the year and we end with the year with Capricorn, and that's where I'm starting. So let's get into it. Okay, so Capricorns, you'll notice here I just have January 1st up here, just put in Capricorn um, here on the ascendant, just so I kind of know where the placements are. And I have the transits for the middle of the year. Um, the transits, like I said, they're interesting this year because there's shifts. There's like two different things that are happening from the beginning of the year and then the second half of the year. So I'm going to start with um, those people born in December and early January. Um, so I'm talking about early December. I'm sorry, not early December, but early in Capricorn. Jupiter has been trining your sun sign because Jupiter has been in Taurus. And so that has been giving you a burst of energy, maybe experiencing some luck, some popularity, some recognition, some abundance. So that has probably felt really good for you. One thing to be mindful of with the trines and even the sex house, I won't get into sex house today, but those can be they're wonderful to have, but they can create laziness, right? Like where, oh, you just think things are going to come to you. I feel lucky, and so it's just going to happen. With the trines, you still have to put in some effort. You still have to go after the opportunity. You still have to act on it and not just assume things will come to you or just be handed to you. So those born January 1st on through the Capricorn, you will experience the Jupiter going over or trining your sun sign now. So that'll feel really good. That'll feel really good. Those born January 9th through the 18th will experience Uranus trining your sun, um, or any planet that you have. And this stimulates you. I mean, this is like an added excitement. Jupiter and Uranus are somewhat, similar in the sense that they both want freedom, they both want excitement, they both want adventure. Um, they're both very spontaneous. So having both of those trining your sun sign just adds to it. It's just like I just want to party. That's just a big party. So you definitely will be eager to try something new, to do something different, just to get out there and just enjoy life. Those born around January 20th, and I'll put around because depending on what year you were born, again, the dates could change. Um, so you got to be mindful of your chart or get a reading for yourself to know exactly what is going to be hitting you. But those born around January 20th, you will experience Pluto going back and forth over your sun. So Pluto has, over the last year has gone into Aquarius and then came back into Capricorn, and it's going to do the same thing. So this will affect mainly 29 degrees, some of 28, I believe, um, Capricorn. Pluto, it's been dragging it out. So whatever you're going to experience, you have been experiencing. This is not something that's new. This is something that y- these changes or shifts or crises have already been happening, or you felt it. You have been feeling that something needs to change. Like, I need to, you know, demolish something and rebuild it. So you have to change with Pluto. So I'm going to speak on this for those born in Aries, zodiac sign, Cancer, and Libra. They'll be hitting you in different ways, but it's still Pluto energy. And depending on how you deal with Pluto energy, and people experience it very differently. You need to go with this. You need to really understand the rhythm and the current, and you need to go with it. People who were born January 18th or 19th have experienced this energy. And so I'm sure they can attest to the changes that has happened, or you may have seen the changes that happen. Pluto encourages deep soul work. It's a major crisis or change that may have or will happen. Again, it's not sudden changes. This has been going on. So I just encourage you to really do the work. Do the work. Okay, so let's go on to Aquarius. Those born around January 21st through the 23rd, same thing. Pluto will go into Aquarius. So it will hit your sun sign for those born in those early degrees. And it will go back into Capricorn. So again, it urges some major changes and shifts in your life. Do the soul work. Um, go with it. You know, change whatever needs to be changed. It is going to force you to change if you don't want to do it on your own. So I encourage you to do it on your own. Swim with the current. Swim with the current. You definitely don't want to swim against it. Jupiter will um, square the signs of Aquarius this year because Taurus and Aquarius, they do square each other. So this indicates that there will be opportunities there, but you got to be careful of not being overindulgent and not being overly optimistic. Jupiter is great, um, but if not used properly, it can cause some damage. So just make sure you're careful um, of that energy. Uranus will also square the signs of Aquarius this year, especially for those born, I believe, February 8th through like the 17th. Be mindful. Again, Uranus energy can be reckless and impulsive. So make sure you are not making rash decisions. Make sure you are really thinking things through. You may be very restless during this time. Okay, so with both Jupiter and Uranus energy, this will be intense. I mean, you will be itching for some change. You may be demanding. So you have to be very careful and cautious of your stubbornness, thinking you know it all or know what's right. Just getting in your own way. So just be mindful of that. You may have some support once Jupiter moves from Taurus to Gemini this year because it will trine your sign. So you might want to wait for that energy because it will shift. Uranus, um, for some of you, will move past a degree, so it won't square it, and then Jupiter is going to move into Gemini, so that will help. But those specifically born February 13th through the 17th, Uranus will be squaring your planet throughout this year. So expect some changes, expect some surprises, some instability, some shocks that comes with the territory. Next, we have Pisces. Those born early in Pisces, Saturn has been conjunct your planet, your sun sign. You may have felt a lot of restriction. This was or could be a time of taking care of business. This is about evaluating your life and your life direction during this time. Those born about March 3rd through the 11th, you will have several hits of Saturn, meaning there will be lessons learned during this time. People are afraid of Saturn. I think I say it a lot, but you don't have to be. But again, it depends on how comfortable you are with Saturn energy. If you have a lot of Uranian energy in you or Jupiterian energy, you're not feeling Saturn. But unfortunately, Saturn makes its transit, so you have to experience it. Um, it can be rewards at the end if you do the work with Saturn. If you really put in the work, it will be rewarding. But if you have not, Saturn is going to make you pay. Saturn will make you pay. The good thing that will help you for those that will have Saturn conjunct your planet, your sun this year, is that Jupiter is going to also square it. So that is going to relieve some of that heaviness, some of that pressure. It will make it easier to deal with because Jupiter will bring opportunities and you're going to be like, yes, let's go. I want to do this. But Saturn is just going to say, hold up, wait, let's slow down. We got to make sure you don't get too beside yourself. It will require, for you to make concrete plans and goals. So it's just gonna slow you down just a tad bit. It'll help for you not to just get too beside yourself. For those born around March 17th through the 19th, Neptune will be on your sun. Neptune is in the later degrees of Pisces. So this can be a very creative and imaginative time. You may feel very selfless and charitable during this time. Um, you will also be very sensitive during this time. So be mindful. Be mindful of your energy. Protect your energy. You may be, just picking up on a lot of other things, and you may be confused of why you're feeling this way or why you're feeling that way. So it's really important for you to cover yourself. There could be feelings of confusion or hopelessness, depending on how you deal with Neptunian energy. If you're not careful, you can be deceived and taken advantage of. Um, be mindful of drinking, using drugs. Like you can get caught up with the wrong people. You can get caught up doing too much for the wrong people. So again, just this is about protecting your energy. But if you're creative, if you're an artist, this is a great time for you. Like tap into that. There will be an eclipse um, hitting your axis this year. So there will be one in Pisces in September, September 17th, I believe. And this will be a lunar eclipse. So this will be about endings and letting go, which is very indicative of Pisces. So there will be some endings for you, but lunar eclipse is always there's endings, but it's obviously ushering in new beginnings. But you got to close some doors first. Aries. So for Aries this year, um, I'm going to start at the end of Aries. So those born April 19th, the 20th, you will be experiencing the same Pluto energy that Capricorn and Aquarius is experiencing. So Pluto is going to be squaring your sun sign for those born around that time. So again, major shifts, major changes in your life that again has probably already been occurring. It's just not finished with you yet. So it's like, hey, we still gotta wrap up some things. We still gotta learn some lessons here. We still gotta tear down or build up some more or make it a stronger foundation. Be mindful of power struggles. It will be important for you to compromise and surrender this year. You may feel very vulnerable and exposed during this time. It may be hard for you to do that, but that may be the time for you to do that. But some things may happen and it may cause you to have to be vulnerable. Be careful of obsessive behavior or controlling behavior, or careful of that from other people. There will be eclipses in your opposite sign of Libra this year. So those born around March 22nd through April 5th, you will feel these eclipses specifically. The first one will be March 25th for those born early in Aries seasons. And the second one will happen in October for those born around April 5th, 1st through the 5th. So you definitely will be hit by some eclipses this year, which can be helpful, like I said, for new beginnings at some point. There's also a major total solar eclipse that's happening April 8th in the sign of Aries. We will be able to see this from the US, so I'm excited about that. This will be at 19 degrees Aries, so those born around April 5th through the 14th, this will usher in some new energy. So those dates, I mean, I mentioned April 5th through the 14th. Initially, um, I said March 22nd through April 5th, and then those born April 1st through the 5th. So those specifically born April 5th ish, you're gonna be getting hit by these eclipses several times. So be mindful. See, what's happening. I always say you can feel the energy. I mean, the planets are reflecting, right? They're not making anything happen to us, so they're just reflecting what's happening to us. So pay attention and utilize this energy to do what you need to do. So yeah, I am re-recording this slide because somehow I skipped to a bunch of other slides. So Taurus, those born around April 21st to the 23rd, you will be experiencing Pluto going back and forth over your sun sign in a square. If you go back and listen to Capricorn, Aries, Aquarius, it's the same information about Pluto. It will um, urge you to make some major changes and shifts in your life. Pluto encourages you to do some deep soul work. A major crisis or change may have or will happen. These are not sudden changes. These are changes that you have probably been feeling for a while, because it would have went over your sign also last year. So we're talking about 0, 1, 2 degree of Taurus here. This is about out with the old and with the new. So it obviously depends on how you deal with Pluto energy. So that is going to matter how Pluto is aspected in your chart. But you want to be mindful. You may be dealing with people in authority. A square is internal tension. So that can mean that you may attract people to play out the aggression that you're holding inside. So it's really important that you release this energy. And that's for all people who are going through Pluto transit. Release this energy by going to work out, kickbox, go to the gun range, do something to get that out, because all of you could be attracting other people if you're not dealing with this energy in a healthy way. So this is about transformation, self-improvement. It's about going to therapy, dealing with your traumas, things that have been just kind of really affecting you emotionally and mentally. It's time to deal with that. Jupiter will conjunct your sun, or actually has conjunct some of your sun already. So Jupiter has already conjunct those, born with 0, 1, 2, 3 degree of Taurus. But it's going to conjunct the rest of you this year. So this is a time of optimism and great success. It's a great time to approach people for raises and promotions. You're very lucky during this time, as long as there are no other factors hindering or interfering with you. So if you have other planets that are being hit by other outer planets in a challenging way, that could put a damper on things. So you got to really know your chart. You got to understand what's going on in your chart. But overall, with the sun being hit by Jupiter, very optimistic time, very beneficial. If it's a woman, beneficial for your love life. Be careful not to overindulge with food, money, and drinking. Okay, so don't overdo it. For those born May 11th through the 19th, Uranus will also conjunct your sun sign. So this is a time of excitement and experimentation. You can move to a new city, change careers, into relationships suddenly. You will be very stimulated and very spontaneous during this time. You will be breaking rules or routines and habits that you may be living with. But just be careful to look before you jump. With this transit and Jupiter transiting, it just could be a lot of stimulation. So, Uranus is around 18, 19 degrees right now, but it's going to move forward. And then it's going to get to about 25, 26 degrees and go retrograde. So, I'm sorry, it's going to get to like 27 degrees, and then it's going to go retrograde and go back to about, I don't know if it's maybe 24 degrees. So for those later sign degrees, you're definitely going to feel this energy. Okay. Be mindful of your health. Anytime your sun is hit by Uranus or I'm gonna say Saturn, even Pluto. We're thinking about men in your life with the sun, women in your life with the moon. The sun rules the heart. The moon rules the body. So just make sure you're being aware of that. With all the excitement with Uranus, you could feel heart palpitations. And, just that. It can be a lot of stimulation. But be mindful of that. Make sure you get checked up, checked out. Not saying anything bad is going to happen, but just making sure you pay attention to that. Gemini. Those born May 24th to around May 30th, Saturn has been squaring your planet. So you have felt a lot of restriction, Possibly you may have felt this heaviness or internal pressure or frustration. Goals may have seemed not to go as planned. You probably felt like you were getting resistance from every level, angle. You're just like, what the hell? Um, Now that energy is or will be lifting. Okay? And Jupiter is going to come behind it in conjunct your sign in May of this year. So you're going to feel like you're getting out of jail. Like you're going to feel so free. You're going to just feel so light. You're going to feel so lucky and so optimistic and so much expansion after this. Hopefully you did the Saturn work so that you can get the rewards, double the rewards on the back end. So I really hope you put in the time and the work. Okay? So now it's time to move forward with plans. Um, it was a time of adjustment, of removing yourself from situations and people that were no longer serving you. Um, it's time to bear fruit. It is time to bear fruit when Jupiter goes into Gemini this year. And that will happen around May. So it is going to feel great. It is going to feel really, really great. Now, Jupiter is going to, go into Gemini, and I believe is going to go retrograde around 21 degrees and go back until around 12 degrees. So those between 12 and 21 degrees of Gemini, you're going to really feel Jupiter's energy during this time. For those that don't have it going back and forth over, you're going to feel it. It's just going to be this one big burst, and it's going to happen at one time. And it's going to be like, great. Ooh, yes. No issues. When Jupiter is going back and forth over, that just means that, okay, we got to deal with some things here. It may not happen like right away. It's going to be like, go over it, you feel it. Okay, something's happening. Okay, that second hit, you're really going to feel it. And that third hit is going to be the final, like, okay, everything is all coming together. So it's steps to it. It's levels to it when it goes back and forth over it. Keep in mind, for those born around that time that I said you have the Jupiter transit going over, your sun sign or whatever planet in those degrees, Saturn is also going to be squaring your sign. So that's why I said, hey, you're going to be dealing with some things. It's not going to be as straightforward. The other, people in earlier degrees will feel that. Saturn will go past it if they haven't already experienced it. And they'll feel a little bump, and that'll be it. With the other signs, maybe some bruises there with Saturn. There will be lessons learned. There will be some pressure felt. But because Jupiter is there with it, it's not going to feel as bad. There will be light. You will still feel like, okay, I can get through this. I can handle this. Like there's some good things happening and there are some challenging things happening, right? Like, so let's say you win the lottery. Ooh, I just hit the lottery. But there may be some things happening where you may not get the money right away. And you got to go through all of this stuff just to get the money. So it could feel like something like that. It's much easier to deal with, right? Like I can get through some struggles if I know I got $1 million coming to me. Like I know that's coming. I just got to get through the mud first. I got to go through this obstacle course first. Jupiter will bring opportunities, but Saturn is going to make sure that you don't get beside yourself in these opportunities. It's going to make sure you have concrete plans and goals together. Okay. Those born June 17th-ish to June 21st, Neptune will be squaring your sun. So you may be very sensitive during this time. You may be very vulnerable, very moody. You may not see things clearly. You could have feelings of disappointment and discouragements, especially if you're trying to hold on to something or someone that is no longer good for you. Be mindful of having a victim mentality. It'll be a good time for you to get a lot of rest. Um, you may sleep a lot, drink a lot of fluids. You will be very intuitive, and this will be a very spiritual time. So tap into that, utilize that creativity, that imagination. Just don't let your imagination go too crazy, like where you confuse that reality now. And again, be mindful of being deceived, and not reading the fine print, and not being clear on things, and being tricked and duped, and people using you, all of that stuff. Just be mindful of that, because you could attract a lot of that energy right now. Cancers. Those born around July 22nd through the 23rd, I am starting at the end. You'll be experiencing Pluto going back and forth over your sun. Again, go listen to Capricorn, Aries, Aquarius. I talk about how Pluto is hitting their sun this year. It hit it last year. So again, you have felt this energy, the major shifts and changes in your life, the power struggles that you may be dealing with. It's very important for you to work on compromising and surrendering. You may be feeling vulnerable and exposed during this time, and be careful of excessive or controlling behavior from you or other people. One of the things to be mindful of, and I didn't go through houses with this, but again, knowing your chart is important. If you are a Cancer rising, Pluto will go back and forth from your seventh to your eighth house this year. So from seventh to eighth, back to seventh, and then back to eighth. Maybe some things finishing up in the relationship department, depending on what degree your eighth house starts. So if you're using a Placidus chart, that depends on what degree your eighth house is. So if your eighth house is 29 degrees, or, you know, late 28, that could go back into your seventh house. Now, there's something to be said just about whole sign houses in general, where Pluto is going back into the sign of Capricorn, so it's going to go back into your seventh house. Play with that. Play with that and see if you're affected by either the degree or just the whole sign. So if you think about when Pluto entered Capricorn back in January of 2008, when it first entered Capricorn, did you have any things happening in your life? Did you feel a shift in the relationships or the type of people you were dealing with? Were you, meeting more Plutonic people? Were your relationships more Plutonian? Or did you feel it more when it was hitting your descendant degree? So that's how you can kind of play with that. Um, I did feel it when it crossed the seventh house, but I'm a little different because I have my sun sign um, was opposite that, so my sun was being hit. So it's a little harder for me um, to look at that, but just play with that. If you think about how that affected you, back then, it'll probably be the same themes now. So just something to keep in mind. Leos. Those born around July 24th through the 26th, you're going to be, guess what? Experiencing Pluto opposing your sun. Again, go and listen to the other signs, whether that's Taurus or Aquarius or Capricorn or Aries. I talk about the Pluto shifts and changes happening in your life, the soul work that you need to do, the crisis that may be happening, out with the old, in with the new, authorities becoming an issue, being mindful of bossy, controlling, aggressive behavior, and the transformation that needs to happen. Important stuff. Okay, so go back and listen to those, and you definitely get some insight there. Jupiter will be squaring Leo suns this year. Jupiter squares indicates there's still opportunity, um, but you have to be careful of, not overindulging, not going overboard, not exaggerating, being grandiose. Leos do not need any help in this department. So the fact that Jupiter is going to square it, it's a little concerning to me. it's just it's concerning. So be mindful of that. We don't need Leos. Don't need no extra energy. I love Leos. I do. I have I have Leo planets in my chart, but Sun sign Leos, ascendant sign Leos, midheaven sign Leos. Whew. Y'all don't need no help. You don't. Okay, Uranus will be squaring the sign of Leo for those born around August 18th through the 21st. Uranus can be reckless energy. I've gone through this again, with Taurus and Aquarius. Be mindful of not making rash decisions. You may feel restlessness. Jupiter's also going to come in to square this, so it's going to be intense. Things will be shaken up for you this year. For those of you that have, your sun sign or a planet at 24, 25, 26, 27 degrees of Leo, this will be transits that are happening throughout this year. So changes, instability in some areas is definitely going to be happening for you this year. It doesn't mean it have to be bad, right? Changes doesn't have to be bad. It may be changes that is needed. It just may be uncomfortable for you. Right? Leos are a fixed sign. It's like it does not like change, especially not sudden change. So the Uranian energy making it a sudden change is probably very uncomfortable. So that's what's going to make it hard, but it doesn't mean it has to be bad. It could be some positive stuff happening. It could be. Virgos. All right, those born August 25th through the 31st, Saturn has been opposite your planet, your sign. Um, and so you may have felt a lot of restriction. That was probably, opposite your sign all of last year. It was a time to take care of business, evaluating your life direction during this time. Okay, so you're coming through that. You're coming through that. Saturn is definitely about to be lifting that energy, or lifting the heaviness. So you should feel, hopefully, will feel better. Those born around September 6th through about the 13th. Saturn will be making several hits opposite or opposing your sign. So lessons will be learned during this time. There will be pressure felt. So the things that the earlier Virgos were experiencing last year, you will be experiencing this year. Do the work. I just keep saying with Saturn, do the work. Time, you're going to pay up. So it's either you're going to pay up, right? Like if you didn't do what was necessary, or you're going to be rewarded. Jupiter is going to come in and help. Jupiter going to help you out. So it'll be something that you can deal with, that you can handle. So you won't be just left out there just dragging, just feeling like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Like it won't be like this, you know, this large weight that you just cannot lift and cannot move and cannot make progress. Saturn's just going to be there to make sure that you don't get beside yourself. It's going to make sure that you create plans and, goals to be able to do this the right way. So Jupiter can still bring you opportunities. It's just going to slow you down a bit. Those born around September 21st, 23rd will have Neptune opposite your sun sign. Could be a very creative and imaginative time. All very sensitive. So protect your energy. I've said that before. Being mindful of being confused or hopeless, or attracting those people who are confused or hopeless. Be careful of being deceived. Making sure you try your best to be clear and to see things clearly. So do things that get you grounded, to make sure that you stay grounded. Seek advice from some very reliable and grounded people. Virgos are typically very practical, so this will be uncomfortable for you. Like, for you to be in this fog, it's not going to feel great, or has not felt great, because you're not used to operating like that. So just take it one step at a time, and just make sure you got a good support team. There will be an eclipse in the Pisces Virgo axis in September. So this lunar eclipse will be opposite your sign. For those born around that degree, so there's endings and letting go, surrendering, those type of things with Pisces. So again, if you have Pisces Virgo on your, 4th or 10th house, that can indicate home and career. If it's your 1st and 7th house, that can indicate, self and relationships. So having an eclipse hitting a point or a planet is important. That's a very, very, very important year. Libra. Those born around October 22nd through the 23rd, you will be experiencing Pluto going back and forth, squaring your sun sign. Listen, I've said it so many times. I thought about grouping you all together, but I didn't want to do that. So I separated this into each zodiac sign, just because of the dates, and I wanted to get specific with some of the dates. But Pluto is going to be hitting you in the later degrees of Libra. The shifts that are happening have happened. Do the work. There's transformation that needs to happen, needs to occur. There's changes that has to happen. The power struggles, compromise, surrender, vulnerability, or controlling obsessive behavior are all words that will be important for you this year. There will be eclipses in the sign of Libra this year. So those born around September 24th through October 8th will feel these eclipses. The first one being March 25th for those born in early Libra season. And the second one will be in October for those born around October 4th through the 8th. So you will be hit this year. There's also a major eclipse happening April 8th opposite your sun sign in Aries. Okay, it'll be around 19 degrees Aries. So if you have planets at 19 Libra, and you go about 4 to 5 degrees on either side, you will be hit. So I said those born around October 9th through the 18th, you may feel this eclipse. So this is ushering in some new energy, initiating energy, a major shift. This is an important year for you. So take heed. Do the work. You already feel it. Whatever is about to happen, this most of the time it's not a surprise. Even with Uranus energy, it's something you needed to change. You just have been reluctant to change. Most of us are resisting happiness. Most of us just don't want to change, and we like the status quo. We just they will want to ruffle any feathers, like, right? Like, who wants to move to a new city and start over? Besides those people who have Uranus conjunct a planet in their chart, or Jupiter strong in their chart, or Sagittarius. Most of us don't. We not trying to do all of that. But when we're being called to fulfill something, a mission, a purpose, a destiny, listen, we have to listen, and we have to follow our urges and our nudges, and do what we're being called to do. So take advantage of that energy. Woo! Y'all, this has been a long video. Scorpios. All right, those born around October 25th through the 27th. Ding, ding, ding. If you've listened to this video, then you know what I'm about to say. Pluto is going back and forth over your sun and is going to square it. Go back and listen to probably all of the other signs to know what is about to happen for some of you. But specifically those October 25th through the 27th, you're going to be hit by that Pluto energy this year. So changes, rebuilding, demolishing, tearing down, transformation, therapy. Go do it. Go do it. Jupiter will oppose your sun sign this year. So opportunities will be presented to you. Again, careful of not overindulging, not being overly optimistic. Do not act too ambitiously, and not think about your limitations. It's important that you still think about the limitations that are there. Freedom and adventure are going to be a focus for you. So when I'm thinking about planets in Taurus, from like 4 Taurus all the way through the end of the zodiac. So the end, not the end of the zodiac, end of the Taurus sign, you will be feeling this. Now, for those at the end that has Pluto there, Jupiter, I'm sorry, it's not going. It's just, it's no match. It's not a much match for Pluto. But let me say this. Let me point this out. Well, you know what I was gonna say? I was gonna say when Jupiter and Pluto get together, that's a wealth and money sign. But that already happened. That already happened. I was about to say that's going to hit you now, but that happened in the earlier degrees of a Taurus, and I'm not sure they lined up at the same time. So I don't think that's going to happen now. I'm sorry. Sorry, I got too excited. But Jupiter, if you do have Jupiter and Pluto conjunct in your chart somewhere, especially in a money house, like the second or eighth house, if those are conjunct or in aspect at all, somebody should be getting to the money. That's probably for another another video. But it's mostly all celebrities or people who make a lot of money have Jupiter, Pluto, Venus, Jupiter, Venus connected to a money house. Yeah. Okay. So I digress. I need to go back. Be mindful of being prideful. You may want to demand attention during this time. You may want recognition and a raise. Just be mindful of doing things excessively. You have to be able to tone that Jupiter energy down, with it being opposite your sun. Uranus will oppose the signs for those born November 17th through the 20th. So you may feel sudden and unexpected changes. You may really want independence right now. it can be reckless and impulsive, so make sure you're not making rash decisions. Please go back and listen to the Taurus, Aquarius, Leo um, section, because that's all of that still applies to you, and I don't want you to miss anything. You will be shaken up this year. Something's going to be shaken up. So depending on where Uranus is going through, what house is going through in your chart, depending on what planets it's hitting, you will be shaken up in that area. And again, shaking up doesn't mean bad. It just means, wow, this is a change I was not expecting. Right? Or maybe you should have been expecting it, because you should have been changing it a while ago. You just hadn't done it. So this will be happening throughout next year. And if you're having several hits to it, there's just some instability, some unknown, just some, oh my goodness. There should be a lot of excitement. Again, I said this in another video or another section. Be mindful of your health, especially if it's hitting your sun sign or your moon sign. Make sure you pay attention. You take heed. If it's saying go to the doctor, get something done. You know, it could be a sudden or a shocking event, but it could be something that saves your life or change your life for the better. So again, just be open to it. Uranus is wanting you to be open to new things and trying new things at this time. So do it. Sag. All right, those born November 24th through the 30th. Saturn has been squaring your planet. So there's been a lot of restriction, possibly the heaviness, internal pressure, frustration, goals, plans have been thwarted, resistance from, a bunch of different levels. This energy is lifting, and Jupiter is going to come in to help you out in the middle of the year. So be looking for it. You're going to feel very good, very lucky. You're going to feel this expansion, moving forward, traveling, writing, very philosophical. It'll be good energy. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. Those born December 5th through the 12th, Saturn will be coming in to mix up some of that energy. So it won't just be Jupiter for some of you. So it will be Jupiter and Saturn. And you will still have the opportunities. It's just going to be a little bit more work involved. It's going to be a little bit more of a delay, a waiting period. Things will happen as quickly or as smoothly. But Jupiter will help to relieve some of the pressure that Saturn does give. It will be like, it will be a gift. Jupiter's gift is abundance, is blessings. So you still will have that. Still be careful of, overindulging and not being overly optimistic or not acting too ambitiously. There's still limits there, and Saturn is going to remind you, hey, there's limits, and you do not want to cross these limits. So don't think you too. Don't get beside yourself. Please don't. Okay. Those born between December 20th and 22nd will have Neptune square your sun. So again, sensitivity and vulnerability and moodiness, not seeing things clearly, disappointments and discouragement if you've been trying to hold on to something or someone. Be mindful of having the victim mentality. Rest, get some water. You may want to sleep a lot. Very intuitive and spiritual time. Creative and imaginative. Those come in. So write stories. Tap into that energy. Woo! Y'all, this was a long video, but hopefully with me being able to break it down, you can just skip to your sign or the modalities that you want to go to and be able to listen to it from there. Again, a lot of this is based on how you handle Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto energy. Jupiter is going to go through Taurus and Gemini this year, which is what makes it very interesting and why there's two different kind of feels to the year. And Jupiter is going to conjunct two different outer planets. So when it goes to Taurus, it's going to conjunct Uranus in Taurus. When it goes through Gemini, it's going to square Saturn, which is in Pisces. So it just brings in very different type of energy. I mean, Uranus and Saturn energies are so different. And Jupiter is an expansive planet. So it's going to expand whatever it touches. Pluto's going to go back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius. So all of those planets, are going to be hit. Those signs are going to be hit. It's going to be a lot, and especially with the eclipses happening in Libra, Aries, and Pisces. So that's why I said this year is packed with every sign being hit by something this year. A lot of movement, a lot of progress, but a lot of work to put into. We have to go with the changes that are happening. Embrace it. Embrace what's happening. Embrace what you're being called to do. Look at the different houses that these planets that are being hit. Look at what houses they rule. That will give you more insight into what areas are being impacted, what houses they rule, and also where these planets are transiting. So where Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, what are they going through? What houses are they going through? The Uranus and Neptune and Pluto, they've been going through the same house for a very long time. But a lot of those are getting ready to shift. They're getting ready to make some shifts these next few years. So it's really wrapping some things up in your chart. Neptune is going to be finishing up in Pisces this year. Uranus is going to be finishing up, and I think it's going to go into Gemini next year. So it's wrapping its round up in Taurus. Obviously, Pluto is about to make the transition into Aquarius. So it's been in Capricorn, I said, since 2008. Whew. Yes, this is a year of a lot going on. I encourage you to get your own chart looked at, because it will be very vital, important. I also use the Eastern or Hindu chart to look at transits. That gives me additional information or confirm information. I use perfection and progressions. It just gives more knowledge, more information for me to be able to help each client. So I encourage you to look at all of those different things. When you see the same thing happening in different charts, that's a signal that, hey, this is happening in this area of your life. That's confirmation. And when you see it 2, 3, 4 times, so you definitely want to get that checked out. So hopefully this will all get you started for this year. Get those charts looked at. Look at your own chart. Roll with the energy. You've already been feeling it. This has already been in you. Just go with it. I'm a big proponent of I can't even speak. A big proponent of us not resisting life, not resisting happiness. That is a book. I love that book, Resisting Happiness. Go check it out. The same author has another book called Rhythm of Life. And I am big on the 12 laws of the universe. And one of the laws just talks about the law of rhythm. We really have to understand the rhythm. And we have to know how to swim with the current. So many times we're swimming against it and making our lives a lot harder. So hopefully this will help you all to kind of get into the groove of 2024, learning how to work with the energy. If an ex comes back and it's calling you to go, spin the block, and it was a healthy or could be a healthy situation, go for it. But if the lesson was a hard lesson before, and don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. So again, understanding the energy, understanding yourself, your life, your lessons, all of that is important. So I wish you nothing but greatness in 2024. I'm going to try to continue to put out more videos, give you more information about astrology. I'm excited about what's happening in my chart with all of these transits. So hopefully I have more energy. Because I'm not gonna lie, I was hit by the Pluto transits. I was. It is wrapping up. It has wrapped up, and I am so relieved. But I did the work, and so I'm ready to hit the ground and get going. So again, peace, love, and light. Until next time.